Hello, Soul Tribe. This is Renee Asiri with InsideJobHealing.com coming to you live for this week's energy and astro forecast. So, what is going on this week is some really interesting energy because we have Mars, which is the planet of action and willpower, in the sign of Virgo, and it is in direct opposition to the planet of spirituality, intuition, empathy, and compassion, which is Neptune. So we have Mars in Virgo in direct opposition to Neptune. So what does this energy really mean for us on a collective level, astrologically speaking and practically speaking, for the week? What that means to us is that there could be some anxiety, because usually when Mars is in Virgo, it's a very high strung sign. There's some anxiety. And if we break down anxiety, what is anxiety? Anxiety is overthinking and fear of the future. So a lot of us, because we live in uncertain times, we might be overthinking things and just feeling a little bit anxious about the uncertain future. So you might be feeling anxious this week, which is totally normal. Also, with Mars being that action-driven sign, being in opposition to Neptune, it may bring about some confusion, some ambivalence, some procrastination perhaps, of kind of like not sure to move forward. So when you're able to really transcend that kind of procrastinating or not sure if you should move ahead energy, I highly recommend that you move forward with any projects that you're thinking about, like new websites or marketing campaigns or starting a new business or moving your business online. I highly recommend that you do push those forward, those projects forward when you've transcended this energy of feeling a little ambivalent or uncertain or procrastinating, because the energy is going to be dicey October, November, and December. So we have this 2-week, 3-week window, especially before Mercury goes retrograde on September 27th, to really kind of start these projects, start these initiatives, websites, launches. And I talked about how last week was a great launch week. And so you just want to keep moving forward in order to avoid the weirdness coming up in the fall. And so this is a really good time to just kind of keep moving forward, sign those contracts, because you don't have any Mercury retrograde activity, which affects contracts, it affects travel, it affects communication and travel and technology. So just move on ahead before September 27th. So just a heads up, especially if you're a business owner. So what else do I want to talk about? Okay, so another byproduct of this energy, because, Neptune is that watery, very spiritual, very compassionate, very empathic, very dreamy, fantasy-driven sign. Right now is a great time to communicate from a very compassionate, from a very deep place, from an empathic place, from a spiritual understanding place. So if you have someone in your life, like an ex or a family member or someone that you don't feel like you've been seeing eye to eye, and you want to have that kind of very deep, compassionate, serious conversation, this is the time to do it, where you're sharing your perspective from a very compassionate place and where you have spiritual understanding for the other person. So this is a really great time to have those kind of conversations. That's another byproduct of Neptune being in opposition to Mars, okay? And so that is what's going on astrologically. Looking ahead, we have the new moon, which is supposed to be really great energy in Virgo. It's Virgo season, so happy birthday to all the Virgos out there. And so that's happening on September 6th. So that new moon is bringing a lot to the table. So I want you to think about what intentions you want to set, what seeds you want to plant for the following full moon. So this is a really great time to kind of take inventory of your desires, of what is, what manifested during the full moon just a week ago. And so you just want to kind of be looking ahead and seeing what things do I want, what desires do I want to manifest. And you want to feel like they're already here, that they are not separate from you, but you just want to kind of make sure that you are taking stock of what's happening in your life. There is a collective sense of unhappiness in the collective right now. I feel like A lot of people don't feel like they are where they want to be. So if that's you, hit me up, comment below. But the way to really remedy that is to speak it out loud or write it down or journal about it, and speak to yourself. So be really honest with yourself right now, and put the mirror right here and be like, okay, so December last year, right, Sagittarius, these are some of the things that I wanted to put in play. I wanted to go back to school. I wanted to move to another state. I wanted to better my relationship. I wanted to make more money. I wanted to buy a house. I wanted to start my business, whatever it is. So just kind of like have a conversation with yourself or write it down, whatever feels more comfortable, and just be like, these are the things that I set out for myself last December. And here we are, we're almost in September, 2021 is almost over. We've had that Saturn-Uranus conjunction of pulling you from, it's like the future wanting you to move straight ahead, and then the past kind of pulling you back and creating some upsets, and then you have Uranus wanting to shake things up, and you're trying to make changes, and now you're having to tweak them and set the foundation for long-term change. So we've been going through all this turmoil this year, and we have turmoil on the outside, like with what's going on in Kabul and Afghanistan and America pulling out, and what we have going on with the vax and just the passports and it affecting travel and people having to take PCRs and a shortage in airplanes and pilots and rental cars. We just have all this scarcity and lack and turmoil in the outside world. Kids are finally starting to go back to school, but they're being mandated to either be vaxxed or do the PCR test and wear masks. So it's just kind of this new normal. It's our reality is changing minute by minute. And we're just in this very, very crazy time in the collective. So it's time for us to kind of reassess all of the things that we desired in December of 2020 and seeing what things came into play, what obstacles are still there, what things do we have to do to move obstacles out of the way so we can actually create the life of our dreams and be living our best life. And so my digital course, Lifestyle Reset and Thrive, is really about that. It's about coming into alignment, removing anything that's not in alignment in your life. The first 6 weeks is about the body connection, and the following 6 weeks is about the mind. You have to really get your body temple in a good place before you can really work on your mind and your manifestation and your spirituality. You have to be healthy from the inside out, and that means that you have to take care of your body temple and create systems to manage your stress, systems to quiet your mind and gain that clarity, so that way you're really able to launch into a lot of the higher spiritual lessons of self-love, self-care, and acceptance. And really, once you start to accept where you're at, so take an inventory of what are some goals, what are some desires that I set out for myself in December 2020. And then once you realize, okay, this didn't happen because I had this obstacle. I'm working on this, but this is still stagnant. That's pissing me off. That's frustrating, right? So just take an honest inventory and then come to a place, cry about it, scream about it. I don't care. Just let it out. Be honest with yourself, brutally honest, and then come to a place where you can accept where you're at, because whatever you resist persists. So what you really want to do is accept where you're at and be eager for more. Okay. So that is what I'm recommending to you. And that especially with the new moon coming up, because it's such powerful energies for manifestation or moonifestation. So just take that time. And don't beat yourself up if you're not where you think you ought to be. And maybe that's where that underlying unhappiness that I'm sensing in the collective, because you know what, you still have time, right, to kind of propel yourself forward and do that work, because whatever you resist persists. So stop resisting where you're at, accept where you're at, be grateful for the blessings and be open to receiving more. Okay. Love you guys. Rena with InsideJobHealing.com.